Hello! Welcome everyone to the Pokemon Crystal Full Item Randomizer Tournament 2022 here on SpeedGaming. My name is St. and my co-commentator... Oh, he's not commentating, he's just tracking, so he's muted in the thing. We are going to be getting this race underway very soon, playing Horse and Xan. I think we're ready to go, in fact. So I'm going to get the race underway. And good luck to both the runners. So for anyone who hasn't seen Pokemon Crystal Randomizer before, we are playing on a modified version of Pokemon Crystal called Speed Choice that does a number of things to make the experience of speedrunning Pokemon Crystal just a bit less painful. It gives us instant text. Both runners will have the bike available to them from the very beginning. And runners should be getting underway. I don't see them getting underway yet, even though I have started the timer. Restream might just be delayed. Okay, so I'll just wait and see them get underway in a second. Until, yeah, there we go. Okay. Excellent. So, yeah. So both runners will get instant text, so the text boxes go much faster. Both runners will have access to the bike from the very beginning. Even though the bike is randomized and they'll probably pick it up somewhere, they get a second bike just in their bag from the outset for quick overworld movement. And we see Xan setting it to Saturday and Horse setting it to Sunday, which is interesting. If you set it to Saturday, you can do a small time save when you get to the bug catching area a little bit later in the game that can save a little bit of time. Both runners are going to be looking at the starters. We have Dugong, we have Octillery, and we have Ponyta. Whichever starter you choose, your rival will take the one in the ball to its immediate right. So Xan has taken a Dugong, which will give the Octillery to his rival. Horse has taken the Ponyta, which will give the Dugong to his rival. And all the Pokemon are randomized. All the moves that Pokemon can learn are randomized. All of the items on the ground and all of the key items that you get from NPCs are randomized. We also have settings in place that Pokemon in these first couple of routes are going to be fully evolved, so you're more likely to run into something runnable. Yes, part of the speed choice settings are that both runners get the bike right from the beginning of the game just to make the experience easier. And the Ponyta has Earthquake, which is an excellent move. Of course, you're using a Ponyta, it's not a Rapidash, and it has Body Slam, but this is a really good example of a good moveset. The sort of moveset you're looking for, which is strong moves that are 100% accurate, that have at least 10 PP as a general rule. Xan runs from Charizard. Of course, runners don't have any Pokeballs yet. They need to get to Cherry Grove to buy Pokeballs, where Horse is just entering Cherry Grove now. So we'll see him buy some Pokeballs. He's going to sell the Nugget and the Iron that he picked up, and he's going to buy a bunch of Repels, a couple of Potions. Paralyzed Heal. I didn't see him buy any Pokeballs. Yeah, he's going back to buy some Pokeballs. I didn't think he would want to just main that Ponyta, even if it does have Earthquake. Ponyta is going to be a bit frail. It will evolve eventually, of course, but not until I think it's in the 20s or 30s. I don't know what level it evolves. We see a Vaporeon. Vaporeon could be Oh, if it evolves at level 42, then that will be downgraded to level 40 here in the speed choice setting. Pokemon that evolve at very high levels will evolve at a slightly lower level. Xan finds the Fog Badge. So one of the 16 badges that both runners need to collect to beat the game. The goal is to beat Red. To beat Red, you need to have all 16 badges. You also need to have all the Pokegear, the radio card, and the expansion card, as well as a means of accessing Kanto, either the pass or the SS ticket. And the squirt bottle to get to Kanto. And Zan runs into a Kangaskhan. He's put to sleep. He wakes up again. And Horse is trying to catch a Politoed. Kangaskhan can be a good main because it's a normal type. And normal type Pokemon will learn Headbutt eventually and Strength, as Horse also gets the Frog Badge. And yeah, there's a couple of strong normal type moves that you can get access to that make any normal type Pokemon fairly quite attractive as a main. And yes, all of the badges are randomized, so any item you pick up off the ground can be a badge. And when you fight a gym leader, they might just give you a berry or a potion or a TM that teaches Splash. All the items are randomized, so the runners have to figure out where the items are. They're both playing on the same seed, so that's why they both found the Frog Badge in the same location. But the runners are going to be trying to get access to all the different areas of the map as quickly as they can. They're going to be looking for the 2 items they need to use Fly, which is HMO2 to teach Fly, and the Storm Badge, which allows them to use Fly in the overworld. Then they will be able to travel around much more quickly. At this point in the game, they are just going to be making their way up to Violet. They will try and defeat Faulkner. They will climb Sprout Tower, has several items in it. And then, once they've beaten Faulkner, they will be able to travel down through Union Cave, into Azalea, through Ilex, into Goldenrod, and at that point they should have something to open up their progression further. Either the pass to get to Kanto, or the Squirt Bottle to get to North Yoto. In the meanwhile, they're going to be worrying about trying to find a Pokemon that they can main through the early part of the game. Kangaskhan has the issue of being a bit on the slow side. I'm not sure what its base speed is, but it isn't the fastest. But it's a good, strong physical attacker. Another thing about Pokemon in Gen 2 is that their attack DV is determined by their gender. Or rather, their gender is determined by their attack DV. Female Pokemon have lower attack DVs than male Pokemon. However, Kangaskhan is, I believe, always female. And Horse finds the SS ticket. And Zan is going to grab it in a minute as well. Now that item is not in Logic yet because they grabbed it in the dark. And the items that are in the dark are never... Oh, it has 90 speed. Okay. Today I learned that's not actually that bad. I guess it just looks slow because it's big and bulky. Items that are in the dark are not in Logic until you have tamed the Zephyr Badge and the Flash TM, HM. But the runners will obviously need to get to Kanto at some point, so the SS ticket is very useful for that. There's also an item check that is specific to getting on the boat, and that might be required. We'll have to see. Zan has gone directly to the Ruins of Alph. You can get an escape rope and use it to open this first chamber, and it contains 4 items. Some runners like to check this before they go to the gym. Horse is also heading in this direction now as well. Miltank has 100 speed? What a weird game. So we see Stardust, which is a good item to sell for money. Zan gets the Hive Badge. Hive Badge is the badge that allows you to use Cut in the overworld, and Zan has the Squirt Bottle. Okay, we have a very interesting run on our hands now. The runners have access to the Squirt Bottle before entering Faulkner's gym. This means that they can now travel to a large area of the map without even needing to defeat Faulkner. They have a lot of different checks open to them. They are also going to be able to catch a level 20 Pokemon. And it's a Persian, which is a decent Pokemon to get here. It's another normal type. It's a good physical attacker. It's not, it's not like Tauros or Dodrio, but it's good. And it's a really good Pokemon to get as level 20 this early. Xan talks to the NPC next to the tree. Now that he's spoken to that trainer and obtained his item, he will be able to purchase a Rock Smash TM from the Goldenrod department store. And the Rock Smash TM is how you gain access to several areas in the game. There are some checks that are locked behind smashing rocks. So to have really early access to that is important. The Persian on Horse's screen has killed his Ponyta. He is chucking Pokeballs at it. I didn't see if he saved before this encounter, but he probably should have. And he did. So yeah, he can just load the save and chuck Pokeballs at it. And yeah, someone asks why the Persian was level 20. The Pseudo-Wudo encounter is always level 20 in the vanilla game. The randomizer changes what the Pokemon is, but it doesn't change the levels of the Pokemon. And it doesn't randomize their stats. So you're not going to randomly get an Electrode with a really slow base speed or something. And Horse has caught the Persian. So we should see both runners switch to that. Of course, because the runners have the Squirt Bottle and the SS ticket, they now can go all the way to Kanto and catch some even higher level Pokemon. But they've chosen... Xan's chosen to go back to Sprat Tower. And Horse, meanwhile, is making his way into the bug catching contest. Where he's going to grab a couple of items. So immediately we see the paths have completely diverted. The runners are in totally different parts of the map. They're doing very different checks. And Horse finds a nugget. They already have the badges that allow them to use Cut and Surf. So as soon as one of them finds the HM to teach Cut or Surf, then they will have access to a bunch of additional checks that their opponent may not find for a while. You can main switch in bug catching. The highest level you'll find in bug catching is level 18. And since they already have a decent level 20, Xan finds the red scale. The red scale can be handed in to Mr. Pokemon in exchange for an item. So Xan will also have to ask himself whether he should go back and do that check now, as he finds the radio card. So Sprat Tower having a couple of key items. Horse picking up the coin case, which is a key item, but not a required one. And he's going to be checking this item down here. He's saving before this fight. Persian is not the fastest Pokemon in this gen. I believe Electrode is the fastest. I think Persian is a decently fast Pokemon. This trainer has a Mewtwo. Mewtwo is the best Pokemon, by the way, to use in this. It does have a really, really high special attack stat and a very, very good attack stat as well. And it has a little bit of bulk to it as well. It's not made of paper. But Horse's Persian is 5 levels higher, so he deals with it fairly well. He gets the PP up, which he can sell. Xan finds an energy powder and is going to fight the Elder here. Horse, meanwhile, making his way through what we like to call Spinner Hell. And he's going to pick up the Kenya. This is a level 10 Pokemon that can be... that's carrying mail. It can be handed in. It looks like it's a Lugia. It is a Lugia. With Mega Horn and Hypnosis. He's checking the TM. The TM is Horn Attack. And Horse making his way into Goldenrod now. And he's going to Goldenrod Department Store. Here he will be able to buy TM08. He is going to buy a Water Stone. Which will give him access to another hidden chamber in the Ruins of Alph. Both runners will definitely buy a Water Stone when they arrive and the Goldenrod Mart. And he's going to be looking, yeah, there's TMO 8 for horse. He's going to be looking at the other TMs to see if there's anything good. And he'll make his way to the basement where there are 3 items to be checked. I did not see if Xan got anything from the Elder in the Sprout Tower, but he's made his way to Faulkner's Gym. Beating Faulkner's Gym is necessary to travel to the route below Violet City, but with the Squirt Bottle and the SS ticket, Xan doesn't actually need to beat Faulkner's Gym, but it could contain a key item. So he is going to do it, and also to get a little more experience onto his Persian. By leaving the basement till last, Horse is able to escape rope out of it, and is going to make his way now to the bike shop. He's not save scumming the bike shop. Some runners, and he didn't need to because it's the Soul Badge. Some runners will save before checking the bike shop item, and if the item isn't any good, they will load their save. And they can walk back to the center of Goldenrod by doing this, and it means that they don't have to get a phone call from the bike shop guy later on. But since the item in the bike shop was required, we are going to get a phone call from him later on, but that's worth it for getting a badge. And we see Faulkner doesn't give Xan anything. Horse is doing the radio card check, and he didn't get anything for it. Or at least not anything important. The other radio tower check is a TM. Once the runners have collected 7 badges, Horse is currently on 3. The rocket takeover of radio tower will take place. And they will then be able to do some additional rocket fights here and get some more items later on. Horse is also going to make his way to the underground. He has to fight 1 Pokemaniac, and then he can pick up 1 item on the ground here. Xan using the PC to heal his Pokemon. In Gen 2, if you take a Pokemon and put it in the PC, then take it back out, it comes back out fully healed. This is often faster than using the Pokemon Center, particularly if you only care about healing your main. And, oh, I thought Xan might be about to go into the Dark Tunnel, but of course he doesn't have Rock Smash yet. He is going to do the red scale check. Which is not a bad idea when you get it that early, to check it while you're near there. And it's the Zephyr Badge. This is the badge that allows you to use Flash in the overworld. It is, of course, required, and that makes it look more likely that the SS ticket they picked up is going to be in Logic very soon. It also gives 1 additional check. The NPC who blocks your path until you have beaten Faulkner will also give you a Miracle Seed when you have the Zephyr Badge. And in the randomizer, the Miracle Seed is randomized into anything else. Horse finds HM01. The Flash HM is in Ilex Forest, so we now know where Xan will need to look for it. The Miracle Seed check is nothing. Horse gets TM07. He's picking up items through Ilex Forest as he comes down through it backwards. I don't know if he picked up the item further up there. I think he missed one. I think he missed an item in Ilex Forest because he went and talked to the headbutt guy. Xan finds the card key. Key items everywhere here. So once the Rocket Tower sequence begins, Xan will now be able to go all the way to the top of Rocket Tower with the card key and defeat Storm Badge for Horse. Oh my god, I didn't even see that. Xan now heading through Union Cave. It's a little unusual to see runners' paths divert this early, so we really have to pay attention because they're all checking different things. And they're in a couple of the densest areas in the early game. Ilex and Union and Goldenrod are all very dense with lots of quick checks. Horse appears to be buying some escape ropes. it's also kind of impossible to tell who's in the lead here. Horse does have one extra badge. As we see, they've synced up, even though they've been going through this loop of Johto in reverse directions. So it looks like Xan is going to be starting the Slowpoke well. Gauntlet. There's a Whirlpool TM as well for Horse. I did not see him pick that up. I do not know where he found that, but he had it. So yes, key items everywhere. It's not too hard to find key items in the early game because the logic will give you the items you need to get to other areas to find additional items. Once you open up more of the map, they get harder to find because there are more different places they can be. And Horse has the card key. And Horse has the cut HM. I didn't see where he got that either. Oh no. Did I? Oh, I think I thought he picked up the Flash HM and he picked up Whirlpool instead. I think that's what happened. Anyway, Horse already now has access to cut. Meaning he can check some additional items and will be able to check a lot of extra items as he goes on his first visit to different areas, instead of needing to, for example, backtrack to Lake of Rage later to do cut checks when he finds cut and other areas like that. Xan finishing up the Slowpoke well. Horse also already has Rock Smash, so is probably heading, as he hands in the Kenya, he gets a Charcoal. Okay, he's not going to do the Rock Smash checks. He could have done. He also hasn't found the Red Scale yet, so he's... Oh, and he's now going to be making his way into Sprout Tower, so... So after Slowpoke well, Xan talks to Kurt for his first item, and is now going to be fighting Rival. Here, Xan has the option of fighting Rival or doing Bugsy's Gym. And he's going to pick up... he's going to fight the Rival first. And it looks like Horse is teaching... Yeah, he's teaching moves to the Kenya. He's main switching to the Kenya. Now, even though the Kenya is 10 levels lower than the Persian, because it's technically a trade Pokemon, it was obtained from another trainer, it is going to gain experience much faster than a regular Pokemon would. However, because it's a legendary, it is going to gain experience slower than a non-legendary would. But I think the fact that it is a trade Pokemon is going to offset that. So he does have access now to a legendary that's going to level up fairly quickly. Lugia is not a legendary people normally run, but maybe offsetting its slower growth curve is going to make a difference. Now let's pay attention to Xan's checks here in the forest. There's the Storm Badge. A really important badge because it allows you to use Fly. The red scale now for Horse. And once Xan completes the Farfetch'd puzzle, he will be able to do an additional check in Azalea. So my guess is that he's going to do this puzzle and then go back to Azalea and do the charcoal check and fight Bugsy's Gym. In fact, yes, he's escape roping out of the forest. And radio card for Horse as well. And of course, we know that handing in that red scale will be an important check for Horse to do, so hopefully Horse doesn't put it off. Well, no, Mel, that the trainer in the forest normally gives you cut rather than the headbutt TM. But the headbutt TM was quite close to where it is normally picked up in vanilla, that is true. Okay, French vanilla means it's in the same area. See, we're all learning things today, ladies. So let's try and pay attention to what Horse picks up from fighting the rival. Xan stands in front of Bugsy to fight him, something which I don't think I've ever seen anyone do before. I'm pretty sure both runners have the Hive Badge. I don't know why that got unmarked on Xan's tracker. The Hive Badge was in Ruins of Alph. Yes, the randomizer will give you Pokemon at lower levels than they normally evolve because it's a randomizer. You can encounter a level 5 Dragonite in the grass at the beginning of the game. But if you catch a Magikarp, it won't evolve till level 20. As we see the pass on Xan's side of the field. So the charcoal check actually was important, and that's a check that I don't think Horse did. SpeedGaming 2 coming in with a raid. I believe they were hosting another race from this same tournament. So everyone coming in from there already knows the drill here. Oh, HM07 for Xan. That is the item that Horse missed as he was coming through Ilex Forest. It is a key item. It is the Waterfall HM. Ah, you were SpeedGaming Link to the Past. Alrighty then. Well, welcome to Pokemon Crystal Full Item Randomizer. This race has been going. There's the cut HM. So we can mark that for Xan. 2 HMs is, and there's HM06. Okay, it was on the Sweet Scent Girl. So 3 HMs in Ilex Forest, effectively. That area is, as I like to say, absolutely stacked. Really unfortunate for Horse that the one item he missed coming through that area was Waterfall. And if he has marked that item as obtained on his tracker, he could be in really big trouble because Waterfall blocks quite a few potential checks. Specifically, a bunch of areas in Mount Mortar, a bunch of checks in Mount Mortar, and also potentially the way into Victory Road. We see Xan now is going to be buying X items at the Goldenrod Mart. He will pick up his Waterstone as well, and he should be able to pick up Rock Smash as well while he is here. Yeah, there's the Waterstone for Xan. Horse finishes up Faulkner's Gym. He will be able to buy Headbutt here as well, Xan, because he's already been through Ilex Forest. And he picks up TM08. Yes, it is possible for parts of the Pokegear to be in West Johto, where the intention, or in Victory Road, where the intention is that you use Waterfall to get into that area. So missing the Waterfall HM could be very costly for Horse, but we will just have to wait and see how the seed pans out. Horse also may not check the red scale for quite a while, and we know that that contains one of the important badges. But he is heading in that direction now. And it does seem like he's going to do the red scale check now. So yes, he already has cut. He can get into Mr. Pokemon's house quite easily. Xan here is going to do the save strat for the bike shop. Unfortunately, it is a badge, so he is still going to have to take that phone call. And Zephyr Badge for Horse from doing the red scale check. And now Horse is going to save and then go into the Dark Cave. So if he gets nothing here, he'll soft reset back to where he was. But having Rock Smash means that he will be able to check these items. They are not in Logic, because he does not have the Flash HM yet. But he still might find something useful. So the radio card check was a Hyper Potion. We know that the Blainer check here is a TM. Another thing that you can do with Rock Smash is encounter a level 15 Pokemon very early. Horse is not going to main switch. In fact, his Lugia is already higher level than that. But if runners get Rock Smash very, very early, that can be an early main switch option. As we see Horse continuing through the Dark Cave. Picks up an Ice Heal. We're also just seeing what Xan is doing with his party. It seems like he's sticking with the Persian over the Kenya. A Rare Candy. Rare Candies are very useful when you come into the final fight to put quick extra levels on your main. And there is one final item here that Horse can check. And it's the machine part. A fortunate item to find, as it unlocks several additional checks in Kanto. Once he has access to Surf, he will be able to hand that in. But it does mean that he can't use the soft reset strat to get back quickly. He's going to have to come this way, and he's going to have to fight the rival. Now, Xan is fighting another trainer in the underground. This trainer blocks your path to the basement under the Goldenrod Mark. So Xan must already be confident that he's going to need to check the basement later on, and he wants to get this trainer out of the way now. Most runners would just go past him, like Horse did, and only fight him later if they had to. Because he does have 4 Pokemon. They are very low-level Pokemon, but he does have 4 Pokemon, so it's a little bit of a time investment for the fight. One of those Pokemon is Blissey, however, which does give really good experience. Because it was so low-leveled, he doesn't get as much experience as he otherwise would have, but it's still very handy. You always like to see a Blissey on your opponent's side. Because you can level up a Pokemon very quickly by knocking out a couple of Blisseys. Horse gets the bike shop phone calls. That's the time loss that you have to take when the key item is when a required item is in the bike shop. Xan is picking up the Kenya now, so only now is he going to see that it's actually a Lugia. And he's going to make his way directly into Kanto. So a lot of areas of the map already open to Xan because he has the pass. Just the areas that are blocked by Surf and Strength are inaccessible. But let's pay attention to the checks now that Xan does upon arriving in Kanto and see if he finds anything else important. Finds a Calcium. Horse is also heading up to Ecruteak. He'll check the item finder house here. He gets a TM. Xan checking the dojo. It's a potion. Couple more items in Saffron that Xan can check. Horse is going to make his way towards Mahogany Town. We get a TM on Xan's screen, an Ultra Ball on Horse's screen. Horse is also going to be looking in the Mount Mortar. He only has access to a couple of items here. He does not have Strength or Surf or Waterfall yet. So there's just a couple of items in Mount Mortar that he can grab. Xan gets a Max Potion. Horse gets a Max Revive. So nothing crucial here yet. Xan going to make his way to Celadon City, where he will be able to pick up the Leftovers. Leftovers is an excellent hold item. It gives your Pokemon passive healing at the end of every turn, and is a really, really useful thing to have. He's also going to make one of his Pokemon hold the Water Stone to create space in his bag, which is a good trick that all runners should know. Picks up the Leftovers. Alakazam is an excellent Pokemon. It has a really high special attack stat, and it is very fast. The downside to Alakazam, as it appears that Xan is going to be trying to main switch here on Cycling Road, is that it has very bad physical defense, and he finds a Tauros, which is an amazing Pokemon. One of the best physical mains in the entire game. And it has Psychic, which is not a physical move, but is still a nice move for something to have. The thing about Alakazam is it has very bad physical attack and physical defense. And that's true. He also has a Headbutt TM that he can teach the Tauros, which will be really strong. There is a meme in this community that Alakazam always gets physical moves. That whenever you find an Alakazam, it will only know physical moves. There was one race in a Pokemon Crystal Bingo tournament last year where someone caught an Alakazam and it had Mega Kick, Double Kick, and Triple Kick. So it had 3 kicking moves. You want special moves on your Alakazam, and so the meme is that you'll never find an Alakazam that has special moves. You'll only find Alakazams with physical moves. But Alakazam is definitely a very mainable Pokemon. Xan finds the basement key. So everything so far pointing to having to fight Rocket Tower, and Xan is also now going to take the SSN from Vermilion to Olivine. But yes, with the card key showing up early and the basement key showing up early, once the runners get to 7 badges, which they inevitably will, they will be able to do the Rocket Tower sequence. I assume Xan caught the Tauros. I didn't actually see, but I think that he must have. Now, doing the boat sequence is a little interesting this early because he has the Squirt Bottle. And he doesn't need to use this to get... Yes, there's the Tauros. He doesn't need to take the boat to get access to this area of the map. But I think he's decided that it's faster than going back to Olivine the other way, since he doesn't have Fly yet. As he's now taught Rock Smash to his Kangaskhan. Cross Chop is another excellent move for the Tauros to have. He teaches it over Psychic. It looks like he's keeping Sharpen. And Sharpen's not a bad move to have on a Tauros either. Or he may have just taught over Sharpen there. Yes, Mew is in the game. Mew, Celebi, Mewtwo, any Legendary, any Mythical from Gen 1 or Gen 2 can appear. Same likelihood as any other Pokemon. Mew is considered just runnable. Celebi is not considered runnable, even though it has the same stats as Mew, because its typing gives it too many weaknesses. Horse now doing the Olivine checks, and we see Surf HM. That means that Xan is going to find the Surf HM in a moment now, but it does mean that Horse is going to be able to surf. He's actually getting on the boat now to go the other way and make this his access to Kanto. So very different routing from both runners, but they are hitting all the same checks eventually. And runners getting access to Surf is going to give them a lot of additional places they can go. But what both runners will be really hoping to find is Fly. So that they can travel around the map much more freely. That's also true. Now that Horse has Surf, when he gets to Vermilion, he will be able to surf in the harbour in Vermilion and encounter Pokemon up to level 38 as potential main switches. However, whether he wants to do that when he has this Lugia Kenya that's leveling up quite quickly is another question. And oh no, Xan hit the optional here. So when you take the SSN from Vermilion to Olivine, there is a second trainer in this room who will fight you unless you make perfect movement in that room to avoid him. Horse does not need to worry about that trainer because he is taking the boat in the opposite direction. So this is something that runners need to be aware of and avoid. You see that trainer is not there at the bottom of the room for Horse. And again, it's just interesting that they both have gone in completely different directions and ended up on the boat at the same time, going in reverse directions. Even though the runners have taken very different paths, this is a very close race. Right now, the main advantage for Xan is that he found the waterfall HM, and we know that Horse inadvertently missed it. Yes, if you lose that fight, which Horse had a very underleveled main for, because you were on the boat, you still progress. It works the same way as the first rival fight in the game, where even if you lose the fight, the game just gives you a free heal, and you carry on as if you won. So it's a very low pressure fight. Of course, you'd rather win because that way you get some money and you get some XP on your Pokemon. And he's teaching Surf to the Kenya, so that's going to be a very powerful move. Of course, he has to teach it to something, but it also implies that he is going to keep using the Kenya for the time being. He does get an encounter in the grass. It's a Victory Bell! Okay, Xan is going to be picking up Surf here. So Xan also now with the ability to Surf. And yeah, he is going to chuck balls at this. Victory Bell is an excellent main. It's a really good all-round attacker, physical and special. And is just considered to be one of the higher tier Pokemon. So yeah, I would definitely main switch. It's not the best typing, but I think it's okay. It's not as bad as the Grass Psychic typing on Executor and Celebi. In fact, it's a poison type that's not weak to ground, which is quite a good thing to be. And he's teaching Stab Sludge. He's going to teach Fire Punch. And he's going to teach Surf to the Victory Bell. Psybeam is also good. Psybeam is not to be confused with Psywave, which deals a random amount of damage like Magnitude and is therefore quite bad. Now, Horse talks to the Pokemon Shaman as Xan starts making his way up the lighthouse, so Horse gets the basement key as well. So even though they're finding these key items in different places at different times, they are finding them. And there's not much between them. Now for Xan, fighting the lighthouse is an interesting tactic because he does not have the secret potion yet, meaning that if one of the key checks is behind delivering the secret potion to Jasmine and then fighting her in her gym, he will have to climb the lighthouse a second time, which runners prefer to not do. But because there is the possibility of Fly being in here, HMO2 being in here, I think it's a good idea for Xan to be checking these checks. Because there are 4 items in here that you can get without needing the secret potion. And if any one of them is important, you will be glad that you did it on the earliest time. Horse runs into the best Pokemon in the grass. We love Cleffa. Cleffa is a gentleman and a scholar. Horse picking up more items here in Kanto. And yes, HMO7 was a ground item in Ilex Forest that Horse missed on account of doing Ilex Forest in the reverse direction and going for the Headbutt TM instead. It could be the difference between the runners missing that item, but we will have to wait and see. Xan finds the Glacier Badge in the lighthouse. So he is now on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items, and he has Whirlpool and Surf, meaning that if he wanted to do Whirl Islands in the dark right now, he could. That would be quite a bold play, and I think he would rather wait at least until he has the Silver Wing. But if he finds the Silver Wing somewhere, there's the Cascade Badge. So 2 badges in the Lighthouse. Horse, meanwhile, doing a set of 3 checks that are only possible with Surf and Cut. Or one of them is Surf and Cut locked. South of Lavender. Yes, Lighthouse is absolutely stacked. We'll see now if Horse makes his way to hand in the machine part and go through Cave in the Dark. Okay, he's going to the Mart in Lavender. And buying max repels, yes. I must remember that you can buy max repels in this shop. I never come into this mart. And that's actually a very useful thing to know, that max repels are in there. So Xan finishes up the Lighthouse. Now that he has 7 badges, because he found Cascade, he will be able to do the Rocket Tower sequence. And because he has the card key and the basement key already, it's quite likely that there's going to be progress on doing Rocket Tower. So we'll see if he makes his way back to Goldenrod for that. So this trainer is unavoidable when you come back from Olivine up to Ecruteak. The most optimal thing would be to talk to him on your way past so that you don't have to watch him walk up to you when you trigger him. But we're talking about real fractions of seconds savings there. But we know that in these races, every second can make a difference. As Horse is grabbing items in... I always get the names of the caves mixed up. I think this one's Rock Tunnel. Yes, this is Rock Tunnel. So Xan now doing the item finder check, and he is going to fight Kimonos. This is a check where you fight 5 trainers with 1 Pokemon each, and you get 1 item. In the vanilla game, this is how you get the Surf HM, so it's required. But runners will often try to get away with skipping it, because it's seen as an unreasonable amount of time for 1 check if you can possibly avoid it. If something is important here, however, and Horse tries to avoid doing kimonos, then we will see a bigger advantage to Xan. As Horse makes his way, I didn't see him pick up anything important in the cave. Nothing in Rock Tunnel, but there could be something attached to handing in the machine part. And Xan is just fighting more of the Kimono girls. He's got 2 more to go. Yes, not having access to Fire Teleport does mean that this is quite out of the way. As Horse gets the Earth Badge, so handing machine part in is required. I don't believe Xan has got the machine part yet. I don't recall exactly where Horse picked it up. I think it was the ground item. Yeah, on the other side of Dark Cave. That's correct. So, not actually in Logic yet. The machine part is not in Logic until the runners find the Flash HM. So it could be a while before Xan checks that. But he will definitely hand in the machine part at some point. Once he finds it. Because you will always check that item sooner or later. And once you have the machine part and Surf, you do always hand it in. It gives you access to other things. It might suit Xan better to do it later, because he may already have Fly when he does it. And that's going to mean that he can actually do that check faster, and he won't have to fight this trainer that Horse has chosen to fight in order to get back here. We see Kimonos just gives an Ultra Ball, so not required today. as Xan gets his call from the bike shop. And, okay, so yeah, Horse making his way into Cerulean City. And because he handed in the machine part, we now get this cutscene in Misty's gym, where we encounter the Rocket Grunt who has hidden something inside. But what has he hidden? That's not the right tile. It's a TM. Okay, Xan now is going to be checking the items in Mount Mortar, but because Xan already has Surf, he is going to be able to check several additional item slots. The Done button is an item that the runners can select in their inventory once they have finished. It isn't used in Bingo because this Speed Choice ROM will automatically mark them as done once they defeat Red. But in Bingo races, or in other races where you have your own win condition other than beating Red, you can hit the Done button once you have completed your run, and you will then be able to see how long it took and a whole bunch of stats, all of the DVs of the Pokemon that you caught. You will be able to see how many times you bonked. You will be able to see, how many times you used a move, how much money you made, how much money you lost, all these stats. And Xan is making his way into Mount Mortar as Horse is going to be taking the boat again. Oh, Horse doesn't have the pass yet. Master Ball is useful. One of the things that the Speed Choice ROM does is it modifies the base catch rate of all the Pokemon to be the same as a Pidgey. So you run into a level 60 Mewtwo, and it has the same, as we find HMO2, that is huge. It is surf locked in Mount Mortar. So Xan can now fly. And we see real advantages starting to pile up for Xan in this race at this point. Already has fly, already has pass, didn't miss the waterfall HM. Already has Glacier Badge, already has Cascade Badge, can already do Rocket Tower. So you run into any Pokemon and it's got the same base catch rate as a Pidgey, which is basically 1 in 3. So you can chuck a regular Pokeball at anything, at any level, and you have a 1 in 3 chance of catching it. Of course, it doesn't feel like 1 in 3, as he finds the Dig TM, which means he won't need to use escape ropes anymore. He can teach Dig to his Kangaskhan and just use that for infinite escape ropes. And he's going to teach Fly to his Dugong. As Horse has also started to do Lighthouse now, so he will find a couple of badges here. And now that Xan has Surf, I think he's going to be coming up to the Lake of Rage and then doing the Rocket Underground sequence. But yes, big advantages for Xan in this race. Even if Horse has already found the Earth Badge, which Xan has not found, having Fly is much more important. The goal is to beat Red. The winner will be the first person to defeat Red and trigger the end credits. Yes, there are a few items past Mahogany that are accessible once you have 7 badges, but most of the items past Mahogany require you to have Strength to get through Ice Path. So the runners will perhaps not go that way until they have both the Plain Badge, which neither runner has seen, and the Strength HM, which neither runner has seen. But Xan has quite a few checks available to him here. He gets 3 items up near the Lake of Rage. He'll get another item for defeating the Shiny or catching the Shiny in the Lake of Rage, and he will get a whole slew of items in the Rocket Underground section that he will almost certainly do immediately afterwards. So he runs out of items here. Horse picks up TM30. I believe the next item he grabs will be the Glacier Badge. Yeah, there's the Glacier Badge. And we know that he'll find the Cascade Badge in a minute. Okay, Xan is not doing Rocket Underground next. It looks like he might be doing Rocket Tower next. I have have not seen a shiny Mewtwo in the Lake of Rage. SpeedGaming with the raid. Welcome in. I don't know if you guys were hosting the tournament already, but welcome into a fascinating race. Horse picks up the Cascade Badge. The runner on the left, Xan, has the lead in progression right now. He is also the only one who has the ability to fly, something which Horse does not have yet. Fly is surf locked in Mount Mortar, so Horse will find it fairly soon. Once he's done Lighthouse, he will probably head in that direction. But Xan has the advantage. The other major advantage in this race so far is that Xan found the Waterfall HM on a check that Horse actually missed. Horse went right past it and didn't check it, and he may believe that he's checked everything in Ilex Forest. If that is the case, it could take him quite a while to find the Waterfall HM, and it could be a real handicap for him in this race. But we will have to wait and see what happens. Horse now has the 7 badges that he needs to do Rocket Sequence, which Xan is already doing. And it looks like Horse might be going to Whirl Islands. This is a very interesting play because Horse does not have Flash, so nothing in Whirl Islands is in logic yet. They do not have to beat the Elite Four. However, there are 2 items that unlocked behind beating the Elite Four, and if one of those items happens to be required, then they will have to beat Elite Four. There is a ground item in Ilex Forest near the Headbutt guy. The ground item that is nearest to the Headbutt guy in Ilex Forest. Horse did Ilex Forest in reverse, so he took the path that led to the Headbutt guy and then continued south out of Ilex Forest, meaning that he did not grab that one item. As Horse finds the expansion card, so expansion card is in Whirl Islands. We've seen quite a few key items locked behind Flash, but we have not yet seen where Flash is. Of course, the runners won't need to find Flash if they can do all these areas in the dark, but none of these items are actually in logic until Flash turns up, meaning that it must be somewhere. But let's give Horse credit for being able to do Whirl Islands in the dark. It's not something I've seen anyone else do in this tournament yet, although I haven't watched every race. But we're getting treated to a really good race here because the runners are doing things in different orders. They're playing very, very different routes. And they're finding different things. But it's hard to say who is ultimately going to come out ahead. Although I think Xan has a really... Yeah, early Squirt Bottle runs are always really interesting from routing perspective. However, Horse will need to find that Waterfall HM most likely. There's also the fact that he is, taking longer to get through Mount Mortar than he probably would if he had Flash. And hello to everyone in chat. Yeah, Fly is huge, and we know that Horse will find it. But because Horse has chosen to come this way instead of doing Mount Mortar, he hasn't found it yet. And, he's chosen to come to an area filled with checks that are not in logic, instead of going to an area where the checks are in logic. And Xan is leaving Rocket Tower? Is he going back to the PC to PC heal? I did not see what happened to him in that last fight. Does he think that his Tauros can't handle the last couple of fights? Okay, yeah, he is box healing. So I think Horse has wrapped up all of his checks. The other reason to wait before coming to Whirl Islands is that you could find the Silver Wing anywhere, and the Silver Wing would allow you to catch a level 60 Pokemon in Whirl Islands, which is obviously a really useful thing to have. Okay, so Xan having to go all the way down to Box Heal there. I'm surprised he didn't have any healing items with which to refresh his Taurus, but maybe it got paralyzed or something and he didn't have an item that could fix that. The spinner that Horse just passed, by the way, has, I think, 5 or 6 Pokemon. So a really important trainer to avoid hitting. Yeah, 6 Pokemon. So we'll see what Horse does now. I don't think he set a fly point for Cyanwood either. So he's going to make his way to Ecruteak. The next question is he going to do Burn Tower and or Morty's Gym? And is he going to do Kimonos, or is he going to go straight through? And it looks like he's going to go straight through. Xan about to beat Team Rocket here. Alright, so Horse should go into the... Yes, so he is going to find Fly now. In this area, unless he manages to miss that one check again. Now let's see the items that Xan gets for completing Rocket Tower. We get a TM. There's HMO2 for Horse. So now his comeback can begin more or less on the exact 1 hour mark too. Xan finds the Old Rod. Far too late for that to be worth anything. Picks up TMO4. And is he going to fight False Director? He is going to fight False Director. So this is a trainer who is a little bit out of the way and has 6 Pokemon. Horse also finds the Dig TM. He has a Psychic TM as well. See, that would make you sad that you're not running the Lugia anymore if you had the Psychic TM and you couldn't teach. Because a Lugia with Psychic, boy. Okay, well there is a Blissey on the False Director, so that's good. False Director is another one of those checks like Kimono Girls that you often try to skip. Just because it's a very long fight and it's very unlikely to give anything important, but of course there's always that chance. Well, SnowBear, the Lugia was the Kenya, so it was leveling up much faster than it otherwise would. I think you could make an argument for a Lugia with Psychic. So we see the Shiny is a Sneasel, so Horse being the first to actually fight the Shiny. I don't think Xan9br did it, even though he was in the Lake of Rage and had Fly, so could have done it quite easily. Okay, there's nothing on the False Director, but the good news is that Xan won't have to worry about that and come back for it later. He can just put a line through it, it's done, don't have to worry about it anymore. Let's see if Horse... No, okay, Horse is not heading into the Rocket Underground, he is instead flying to do the Mystic Water check. Xan hasn't done this yet. It's the blue card, a useless key item. Xan's going to make his way into... Okay, a Max Elixir, but it's not... You want something better than that for doing False Director, but yeah, a Max Elixir can be useful. Horse is going to do a couple of checks here in Violet, as Xan is taking on another rival fight here, and will then make his way through the basement. Because he's already defeated Team Rocket, there will be no other fights in the basement for him to do. This is why runners will never come to the basement unless they've already done Rocket Tower, and in fact the in-game logic will never force you to do this without doing Team Rocket first. It will never put an item, it will never put the card key down here, for example. You can always look for the card key first before coming to the basement. Now that Horse has Fly, he's going all over the place. He did a check in Lavender, which was a check that appears when you restore the machine part. And it looks like Horse is now going to be getting Rocket Tower underway as well. So here the runners' paths have kind of synchronized up. But they haven't done the exact same things. So even though it looks like Xan is at least a few minutes ahead, he hasn't found or handed in the machine part, and Horse has. And we know that there's a badge attached to that. So that's not for nothing. There's a specific strategy to getting both items in this room, hitting the switches so that both items are accessible. It's a pain. It's not a very good puzzle. I don't like this room very much. But Xan knows what to do. And he only needs to hit this switch once, and that will create a path that he can take to go through to the next room. And Horse is using his Kenya in a fight. I didn't see quite what happened. We find a nugget in the basement. And there's the plane badge. Oh, it got roared. Okay, that would make sense. So, plane badge, obviously one of the 16 badges, so all of them are required. But the plane badge is additionally useful. There's the Flash HM. And the Volcano Badge. So the basement is absolutely stacked. Absolutely stacked. And obviously Horse does have the basement key. He's doing Rocket Tower, so he will find all those items in the next 5 or 10 minutes. And yes, finding the plane badge is good because you can talk to this trainer, and they will give you a check once you have the plane badge, similar to the other NPC who gives you a check when you have the Zephyr Badge. I don't believe either runner has actually fought Whitney yet. That's another thing. If you talk to that trainer and if you talk to that NPC and your bag is full, you don't get the item they give you, and you never will. So you have to sometimes be careful. Yes, no one has fought Morty, no one has fought Whitney. Xan is now going to do the surf lock checks in Violet. Now that the runners have Fly and Surf, they can go to a lot of different places quite quickly. Oh, and that's why Horse doesn't have the pass. Yeah, so the pass was on Bugsy, and Horse has skipped fighting Bugsy. At this point, it doesn't really matter. He's travelled to Kanto, and he has Fly, so he can get to and from it quite easily. Now here Xan might be heading towards Dark Cave. He actually has Flash, so it is now in logic. He hands in the Kenya, and he will be able to go through Dark Cave, grab these items. Because Xan has Flash for all these areas that Horse did in the dark, Xan should be able to do these areas a little bit faster than Horse did. Horse was looking for an advantage by coming to these areas early. But I don't think it's necessarily worked out for him. Yes, that's another thing. As I said at the time, Horse doing machine part early is a bit of a risk because... Oh, and Xan's missed an item, but he can rock smash back up to it. So not a big deal, but not repelling through this area, so taking an encounter. This is why it's important to understand that logic, that the ROM never requires you to do these areas in the dark. And yeah, Xan is going to make room in his bag so that he can pick up this rare candy. Because you absolutely want to pick up every rare candy you run into. they are very, very useful at the end of the run. And an extra levels difference on the final red fight can make a big difference. As we see, he picks up the machine part. He will now be able to fly directly to Lavender if he wants, but he's actually going to do the Mystic Water check next. Horse now on the penultimate fight of Rocket Tower. Then finds the blue card. That is a good question. A race like this can take anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours. An exceptional runner with exceptionally good luck can finish in closer to 2 hours. But it is pretty remarkable to achieve that. Xan making his way to Lavender. I guess he didn't set a fly point here before. He will fight this trainer and then go through the cave, hand in the machine part, and he will get his Earth Badge. We also know that Xan hasn't found the expansion card yet, which Horse did find. I think it might have been in Whirl Islands. Yes, the thing is that you get so much money from fighting all the trainers, and you pick up generally a few nuggets and stardusts and things. For most of the run, money doesn't really matter, because you are literally picking up every ground item. So you get so many things. It's very important very early, because you want to get some Pokeballs and you want to get some repels and escape ropes early. But as the race goes on, you really don't need to worry about money too much. Because you're going to be fighting all the gym leaders and so on, you get plenty of cash. You know, this isn't Breath of the Wild where you're trying to build Link's house. This isn't Animal Crossing. You don't have to pay off a great debt. You just got to get into the cave and beat up Red. Oh, Kadabra with Sacred Fire. That is actually very scary for Horse. As we see, his Kenya is again taking the brunt of the punishment. So, Earth Badge now for Xan. Okay, that Victory Bell will take a lot from Sacred Fire here. So luckily the Kadabra goes for Takedown. It is faster, but he finishes it off. A Pokemon game like Breath of the Wild? It'll never happen. Also, Jiggles My Puffs, I like your username. I believe Sacred Fire does have just 5 PP. So we'll see Horse now getting the items here. We know that there are no key items in the tower, but that the basement has several important items. Technically, Old Rod is a key item, but it's not a required item. To be clear, for anyone who doesn't know, the only required items are the 16 badges, the Pokegear, the radio card, and the expansion card, which are the first 3 items in the top row on the left on the tracker. Nothing else is necessary, however, Fly is huge for quality of life, and other items like Surf, Waterfall, Whirlpool give you access to additional checks. So they are generally required because the odds of not having them. This is true, and Kanto access. The runners do need a way of reaching Kanto, which both runners have. Technically, you can do it without Cut, because you can get into Kanto via Victory Road, which requires Waterfall. But Cut is not absolutely required, but it is almost certainly required. But I have played a seed where Cut was not required. There was absolutely nothing behind Cut. And you actually needed to use Waterfall to get into West Johto before you could pick up Cut in that ROM. You do need to wake the Snorlax either way, but you do not need Cut to wake the Snorlax. Xan is making his way to Slam would. I think he's going to set the fly point here and then go to Whirl Islands. Okay, he's actually going all the way there. So he's going to do the pharmacy check. He does not have strength, meaning he cannot do Chuck's gym. He could fight the first 3 trainers in the gym now, if he wanted to, but there's no reason to do that early. Horse has done the false director now, so he should make his way into the basement. And Xan is making his way to Whirl Islands. So we'll see what he finds hiding in here. I believe it was just the expansion card in Whirl Islands, but we will double check. Yeah, Horse is making his way into the basement, so he is going to find some important items here. And then there's still not going to be a lot between these runners, as they're both kind of getting in sync on all the checks that they've done. The difference being that Xan found that waterfall HM. Also, because both runners picked different starters, their rival fights are going to have completely different Pokemon. So always an interesting thing to keep an eye on when runners pick different mains, is to see if one of them gets walled on a rival fight that the other one doesn't. At the moment, Horse is not on the rival fight. He's on the Pokemaniac before the rival fight. That's the one that Xan fought much earlier than he needed to get it out of the way. And Xan making room in his bag for a Max Elixir. But Xan able to just go through Whirl Islands a bit cleaner because he's not in the dark. So he can see what he's doing and get through all those checks just a little bit more efficiently than Horse was able to. But I repeat, it is very, very impressive that Horse was able to do this area in the dark. Like, a lot of runners cannot do that, so full props to him. And yes, there is the expansion card. So at this point, all the key items... Oh, I can mark Team Rocket as well for Horse. All the key items are synced up between the runners, except that Horse has not got HMO 5 or 7. But we'll be finding that. Or the pass, but he doesn't really need the pass for anything, so it's not a disadvantage. He's also missing the Volcano Badge and the Plane Badge, but we know that he's going to find those in the next room. So Xan now fighting the Mewtwo that Horse fought about an hour ago. Yes, if Waterfall is required, which it certainly could be because it turned up very early. It was an item that was accessible, you know, right from the outset. It will be a really interesting challenge for Horse to recover. Yes, well, we've already seen that Fly was in the basement of Mount Mortar. HM7 is in Ilex Forest. Horse gets the Plane Badge. And it is an item that Horse unfortunately missed because he did Ilex Forest backwards. Yeah, the item immediately north of the Headbutt guy. Yes, there are a few items in Mount Mortar that are strength locked, as we see the Volcano Badge for Horse as well. So they are now synced up on badges. And Xan is going to check the ground item near the Soft Sand Girls. there is a check you can do down here that involves fighting 3 trainers that are a little bit out of the way. And yeah, he's not fighting them. He could have. They're just down there. But he's not. He doesn't want to fight them. In fact, he's going to check the hidden item in Mount Mortar, in Misty's gym. Yes, Horse missed a check in Ilex Forest, and the check was HMO7. We are waiting to see, because we haven't found Rising Badge anywhere yet. We're waiting to see whether anything required is behind Waterfall or not. If it is, Xan has an enormous advantage in this race. It goes to show how difficult these runs are. There are a lot of checks, and it can be very easy to inadvertently miss one. We've seen a couple of races come down to runners inadvertently missing an important check. As we see, Horse is now fighting Whitney, something Xan still hasn't done. So it could be interesting if something important is on Whitney, such as the Strength HM. Xan now, which has Flash, which Horse doesn't have. I don't remember where HMO5 was, actually. If it wasn't in the basement. Is going to be able to check this. These are the only 4 items that are not... Flash was in basement. Okay, so Horse should have it now. Horse has Flash. Okay, there's the Rainbow Badge. So yeah, it is a Flash-locked item, but Horse will be able to get that. Oh, and there's Strength as well. So, yep, the Flash Chamber is absolutely stacked. Xan now has access to pretty much everywhere except for the waterfall-locked areas and the west part of Johto. Horse is also heading into Mahogany Underground, so this is something Xan hasn't done yet. Of course, we know that that Hidden Chamber in Ruins of Alph should be what... Oh, Pokegear as well? Holy shit, okay. Apologies for my language. Yep, we obviously missed him picking up Pokegear because we were marking the other key items on the tracker. Pokegear, Rainbow Badge, and HMO4. And Xan is switching to a level 50 Marip. So the Snorlax, having been awoken, was a Marip. Well, he may be not switching to it. Obviously, he can give it a couple of rare candies and evolve it to an Ampharos immediately. And Ampharos is a decent mon. But he has a Tauros. So he's probably just catching it for utility. There's the item finder, another key item that you don't need. None of the hidden items in the game are randomized in this settings. If they were, then the runners in the tournament would already know where they all are anyway. But let's pay attention to Horse as he makes his way through the Rocket Underground, because there's a lot of items in here. You get the rare candy. And yes, it's true. Horse is not going to require Waterfall to access this area of the map. But there's still a chance that something important is behind one of the Waterfall locked checks in Mount Mortar. So there's a handful of items you can check very quickly once you get into this area of the game. There's also there's also 3 gym leader fights that are very high leveled and challenging. Horse picks up TM12, that is the Sweet Scent. I believe that Horse is currently on 1 win, and Xan is on 0 wins and 1. There's the Rising Badge. It is in Victory Bell. It is in Victory Road. For Xan, so he will now be able to go to Mount Mortar. If Xan wins this race, my understanding is that we will have another 3-way tie. We already have a couple of groups, including my own, that have managed a 3-way tie. where each runner has won one race, which goes to show how even the competition is in this tournament and how anyone can win because of the randomization and the variance in these seeds. On your day, you can absolutely win any given race against any given opponent. Particularly seeing how, horses obviously missed that one check, and it hasn't yet impacted anything that's happened because they haven't been able to use the waterfall HM for anything yet anyway. But if it's important, then it will make itself known. Was the Silver Wing obtained? I did not see anyone pick up the Silver Wing. Unfortunately, the tracker does not show the Silver Wing here. Yeah, the Silver Wing is the level 60 Pokemon. No one has gone to no one has gone to the Lugia route and checked it. I can say that for certain. See, Horse's main is slightly higher level than Xan's main. No, Xan's menuing. So now that Xan has picked up the Pokedex, his menu is going to be slightly different from how it was. Runners always hope that they just won't find the Pokedex for that reason. There's the Silver Wing for Horse. So the Silver Wing is in Rocket Underground, meaning that Xan has not found it yet. But that is another question we can ask ourselves. Will Horse go back to the Whirl Islands to check the Lugia or not? I would be a little surprised, but it's possible. Anything's possible. Xan is going to check this item here. The Pokedex doesn't do anything, and it adds the Pokedex to your menu, which just it can interfere with your muscle memory for your menuing. So runners always like to go as long as possible without seeing it. So yeah, Xan make his way through Tojo Falls. There's a couple more items he can check here. And then we'll see if he does what we want to see him do, which is do the waterfall checks in Mount Mortar and show us if one of them is required. Yes, Rising Badge was in Victory Road for Xan. Yes, Xan's routing has been very strong because he will be able to fly away from this item. And yes, it does... Well, he could be doing Mount Mortar now, although he didn't go up to the Lake of Rage. No, he's going to do Ice Path. Okay, so not Mount Mortar yet. I should be paying a little more attention to Horse's item pickups. There's the Rock Smash TM, but Xan doesn't need that. So, Ice Path has quite a few different potential item checks. It then leads into Blackthorn, which leads into Dark Cave, which has 3 more checks. Yes, this seed has been really generous. Like, Xan already has access to everywhere. He has Strength, he has Waterfall, he has Whirlpool, he has every part of Kanto. Xan can go absolutely anywhere he wants. He can fight Claire and get into Dragon's Den. That's true, no Tin Tower. We haven't seen the Clear Bell or the Rainbow Wing. Runners will probably be hoping it's just not required, that one of those items is in Mount Silver, because that will just save them having to even go there or check. I love Tin Tower because it has a lot of items in it, and it feels satisfying to know the path through it. But yeah, runners would certainly be happy to just not need to go there at any point. And of course, because both runners have already defeated Rocket Tower, they don't need to defeat Morty to get access to it. Yes, there are items south of Blackthorn on the route. One of those is the one you can get by going through the cave. Horse has just run into a level 23 Mewtwo. He's not going to main switch to that though, because it's only level 23. But oh, it was one of the electrodes. So Xan's safe scumming for this item. If that item is not important, then you just reset so you're back below that boulder. And it means you don't have to go back upstairs and jump down a second time. Now that's interesting. This is not a rock smash encounter. He smashed the rock, stepped forward onto the tile, and got an encounter on that tile. You see he sets up another repel. Yes, presumably Xan will buy max repels at Blackthorn. We didn't see Horse get anything from the Rocket Underground sequence, I don't think. But he can now fight Price's gym. Oh, he got the Silver Wing, yes. Oh, there's the Rainbow Wing for Xan. Rainbow Wing in Ice Path. But the Silver Wing just gives him a potential main switch. It's not a required item or a progression item of any sort. And it's unusual for Rocket Underground to not give you anything. But if Price's gym doesn't give him something, and of course we know it isn't going to give him Waterfall or Strength, or Rising Badge, it could give him a badge. It could give him one of the other badges though. Xan now finds the Good Rod. Could be Clear Bell. That's very true. Clear Bell would be very interesting. Xan going to do the final item check in this cave, talking to the Black Glasses guy. And he will now escape rope or dig out of the cave, as we see Pierce gives, or TM36, and a rare candy. Price. Not Pierce, Price. There's one final item that he has unlocked by doing Rocket Underground. And it's an elixir. So it looks like Rocket Underground is a complete scam today. There's just nothing required in there. That is certainly an advantage for Xan, except that Xan is very likely to go through that whole area himself at some point. It's just not something people ever skip, because there's so many checks in there. But given how much Xan has already found, it's theoretically possible that he will check everywhere else first and not go there. And true, Horse is now making his way to Ice Path without Strength because he hasn't been to the Flash Chamber yet. So he just wants to check the first couple of items here. He's probably hoping to put off that hidden chamber until he has access to the other hidden chambers. But unfortunately, the Waterstone chamber is not accessible until you've gone into the Flash chamber, because that's where Strength is. Speaking of which, Xan is heading in that direction now. He's going to do the Slowpoke World checks. There are 2 items in here that are Strength and Surf Locked, and then he will be able to go to the Waterstone chamber. Okay, Horse is able to pick up a nugget, which is helpful. But yes, Xan hasn't checked Mount Mortar Waterfall yet. But I think from this he'll do the Ruins of Alph next. And perhaps go to Mount Mortar after that. Because he'll definitely know it's the densest thing that he has left available to him. But this coupled with Slowpoke Well is 6 checks. Oh, and we haven't done the surf checks in Union. Okay, so this area is actually 8 checks. If you're talking about the one that you can do after you do Dark Tunnel, he's already done that. It was actually the machine part. Not that one? Okay. Do you mean Xan? Because Xan has... Oh yeah, Xan has gone up through that area. Going south from Blackthorn. I was not watching closely enough. He may have missed that. Horse is only now fighting the trainers in Slowpoke well, which is kind of impressive. There's the Super Rod. One of the things this seed will always do is randomize the rods, but make sure that the first rod you pick up is always the old rod, the second one is always the good rod, and the third rod is always the super rod. So yeah, going to this chamber plus Slowpoke Well plus Union Cave is a total of 8 checks. So it would make sense that Xan would do that before Mount Mortar. So let's see if there's anything in this hidden chamber. Max Revive, Nugget, Pokeball, and another Nugget. Alright, so nothing in that one. Does he go to Mount Mortar next? It looks... Well, he's gone to Ekritique. Could be fighting Morty. He's going to Burn Tower. Okay, there are 2 checks in here. And gives access to Morty, which is 2 more checks. Of course, we know Morty is a scam. This is just established canon and lore. But Horse is actually heading into Ilex. Has he realized the item that he missed? Nope. No, he's doing the Farfetch puzzle. This will actually give him something. I don't remember what you got for doing this, but this was required. But yes, it is a meme in the community that Morty is a scam, and that fighting Morty's gym is never worth the time. Of course, sometimes you need to have defeated Morty to get access to Tin Tower, but in this instance, they've defeated Team Rocket. And if you have defeated Team Rocket, then the game will not care whether you have defeated Morty or not. And without the clear bell, he can't get into Tin Tower anyway. But okay, so Horse now doing the charcoal check. Oh, that's the pass, right. So it's not actually required, but it was required. And he is now going to be fighting Bugsy. So yeah, the pass wasn't on Bugsy, the pass was on the charcoal check. Xan not going to be waking the roamers. He's just going to do the strength check. It's an elixir. Now he has to wake the roamers. Although I think he could just dig out anyway. I don't actually know. Okay, well, he released them anyway. Okay, he's not going to Morty, however. He only wanted to do the... I do not even attempt to identify roamers from cries. Okay, here we go. We're getting the waterfall checks now. Just check. Xan did miss a check on 45. Okay. We will keep an eye on when Horse gets to that area. And I'm sorry that I talked over the Roma cries. We will check when Horse gets to that area if it's important. He could gain equilibrium over Xan if Xan has also missed a required item. But first we want to see whether the waterfall was required or not. This could have a huge bearing on this race. Horse now still doesn't have strength because he still hasn't done that hidden chamber, but he's probably going to go to that hidden chamber now. There's the clear bell for Xan, so Tin Tower is now available. Will probably be the next place that he goes. So now, if anything is in Tin Tower, Horse requires Waterfall. Xan finds the bicycle. Always a relief. So yes, everything in Tin Tower and everything in the Ho-Oh Hidden Chamber is locked behind the Waterfall TM. And the Lost item as well, which might be required. I've seen it be required before. Okay. Horse has taught Flash to his Ponyta. He's going to that Flash chamber. Now, these items here are strength locked, which means Horse can get them. But yeah, it's very likely that something... There's the Rainbow Badge for Horse. TM46, HM04, and Pokegear. It's very, yeah, it's just always very unlikely. When you add in the Ho-Oh Hidden Chamber, the chances of there being nothing in tin are very slim. Especially with 4 badges still unaccounted for. So the items that were locked behind Waterfall were the Lost item and the Clear Bell. The Clear Bell is required for accessing Tin Tower, so everything in Tin Tower and everything in the Ho-Oh Hidden Chamber is also Waterfall locked. This is true. Xan has a natural lead, regardless. But the runners have taken very different routes. And there's never been very much between them in terms of what they have and haven't found when their paths have synced up. But yes, Xan has had a lead for this for most of this race. But also, if Xan finds absolutely nothing in Tin Tower, then suddenly Horse actually has a big advantage. Because Horse will not have to spend all the time that Xan has just spent doing the Waterfall checks and the Tin Tower checks. It's just very unlikely that that's going to be the case. Horse also hasn't found Rocket Tower yet. Yeah, Xan hasn't done Rocket Base. That's the other thing. Like, Xan appears to be ahead on progression, but Xan has skipped Rocket Base entirely. And we know, as there's the Rainbow Wing for Horse, we know that skipping Rocket Base is the right play, but Xan does not know that, and so Xan is probably going to go there once he exhausts Tin Tower. So unless everything he needs is in Tin Tower, Rocket Base will be the next place he goes, because it's the densest area that he has remaining by quite a margin. But if all 4 badges are in here, and I've seen Stranger Things, at least the first season of Stranger Things, I haven't seen the other seasons of Stranger Things, but if all 4 badges are in here, then yeah, Xan is going to win by a huge margin, mainly due to just skipping Rocket Tower. Yes, even a single badge in here is going to make it almost impossible for Horse to come back. But of course, we want to see both runners finish. It's not just a matter of knowing who's going to win. We want to see both runners complete their roles. So let's pay close attention to Xan's checks. And let's also see if Horse checks the item that Xan missed. Because if it is a badge, that will actually be huge. There's an Ultra Ball. HP up. And the final item is a rare candy. Not required. Useful, but not required. Here we see Xan doing a nice strat. You save before you jump over the final ledge to check this item. If it's nothing, you load and you're back behind the one-way ledge. It saves quite a bit of additional walking to get around to where you were, as Horse is now going to wake up the married. Yes, we know that Xan has already done the whole of West, all the ground checks in West Johto, which Horse hasn't done. Xan checking the 2 major detour items here. Still no sign of a badge. Yeah, none of those items were required, so he can load the save again. Before that walk pad. There's another rare candy. Horse grabs the item finder. All 4 badges in Ho-Oh Chamber. Now that would be a story to tell. This would turn this ROM into a Hall of Fame ROM, undoubtedly. Alright, no badges in the tower. There could still be badges in the Ho-Oh Chamber, but actually no badges in the tower whatsoever. Suddenly the potential for it is the Ho-Oh is a Tauros. That's amazing. Rocket Underground was also empty, yes. It had the Silver Wing, but nothing else. We see Xan is going to go to the Ho-Oh Chamber now. But yes, if Ho-Oh Chamber is empty, Horse now actually has a huge advantage. It still doesn't give Horse a lead, but it does give him a potential to catch up because he's not going to do a bunch of checks that Xan has already done. Lost item is still a chance. We have not seen Xan hand in the lost item either, and that is a good point. We need to find out whether the lost item is something. Horse gets the Rising Badge. Here we go. The final 4 waterfall checks, plus the lost item check. Pink Bow, Nugget. There's the Marsh Badge. And the Mystery Egg as well, so that actually could also be something important. But that is an oof for Horse. That one check that he missed very nearly 2 hours ago could cost him the Marsh Badge. And it also means that he will need to do all of Tin Tower. Okay, the Rising Badge check is a Great Ball. We now hand in the Mystery Egg. And we get 5 TM49s. Okay. Are we getting the lost item check? So here's the other thing. The Mystery Egg didn't matter. Does the lost item matter? Horse has now also found the Pokedex. Okay, the lost item didn't matter, it was the amulet coin. So just one badge locked behind Waterfall, but that's one badge too many for Horse. But we have to admit, this came very, very close to being a non-Waterfall required seed. Horse checking this item. Because he doesn't have Waterfall, he will have to fly to Pewter to surf across and get the other items. But that's only a small loss of time. And yes, the shiny is a Sneasel. Now we're going to see Xan do Rocket Underground. And of course, we know that he's not going to find any of the last 3 badges there. But yes, welcome in. For anyone just joining us, Horse missed the Waterfall HM in Ilex Forest at the beginning of the run, and Marsh Badge has proven to be Waterfall locked. This means that Horse is going to have to realize that he missed that check, go back and find it, complete all of Waterfall checks in Mount Order, and then all of Tin Tower to find the Marsh Badge if he wants to somehow win this race. His one chance, however, is that Xan is currently doing the Rocket Underground, something Horse has already done and which we know doesn't contain any key items. This means that Xan is very, very likely to win this race and set up a 3-way tie in his group, meaning that there will be a tiebreaker race played between these 2 runners and the 3rd member of their group, whose name I do not know. And this will be the 3rd 3-way tie in a group that's been achieved in the last 24 hours. Meaning that this tournament is getting really, really interesting, ladies and gentlemen. And it just goes to show, no matter how experienced a runner is, Woongi is the 3rd. Okay, I don't know if Woongi is here or watching this race. But it just goes to show no matter how experienced a runner is, no matter what the different skill levels are, and both runners have played extremely well today. Like, their movement has been clean. We have not seen runners hitting optionals. Just that one inadvertent mischeck is going to set Horse back potentially a very long way. But it just goes to show that this is absolutely a competition where anybody can win. And yes, you can check off locations individually. But of course, what runners like to do is minimize the amount of time they spend out of their tabbed out of their game interacting with the tracker. So you tend to mark off whole areas in one go. I'm not quite sure how the tiebreaker races are going to be conducted. My understanding is that they are not going to be on SpeedGaming because a 3-way race with 3 runners and 3 trackers is very hard for people to commentate and track and follow. But we might have to figure out a way to do it because there's going to be a few tiebreakers now. Here we see Horse doing the strength locked items. So these were the items that he can get in Mount Order. Yes, I am commentating single-handedly 2 races. I'm lucky that I have a second person working with me on tracking, though. And Vanyo, 186 bonks is very impressive. I I do not look at how many bonks I get in a race, so I don't even know how many more than that I am. It makes a big difference getting early fly, though, to your bonk count. If you were going for a bonk PB, I would just soft reset if I didn't have fly really early in a run. Okay, Xan's going to fight this rocket before picking up these items. Yeah, there's the silver wing for Xan. Did he check that other item? I don't believe it's anything, because I'm sure Horse checked everything, but... I'm not sure if he did. But how could he have missed it? Oh, now that's interesting. Xan went down to just check that one item. If he only needed one more badge, trying to just check all the items here without doing any additional fights would make sense. But he still needs 3 badges, so... he's not quite that close to finishing. Horse, meanwhile, making his way down to Fuchsia to fight Janine. Now, there are 3 checks down here. 2 in the Fuchsia gym, and then 1 is a cut-locked item. We have not seen Xan go this way yet. So we might see Horse find a badge here. It feels very likely that there's at least 1 item on... that there's probably going to be a couple of badges on the Kanto gym leaders. We also haven't seen either runner go to Claire's gym or Dragon's Den yet. And there's also the possibility of an Elite Four. And yes, neither runner has checked Chuck yet. I think Xan has set a 5-point in Cyanwood. I don't believe Horse has. So Horse will get the Janine fight underway. Or in this case, her name is Bob. Another thing that's randomized in these ROMs, of course, is all the trainer names and the trainer classes. Oh, okay, so Xan is doing a very fancy skip where you do a bunch of the checks in Rocket Underground and then you escape rope out and you skip the last couple of fights and you skip waking the electrodes. This also means that you can't do Price's gym. Now, we know this is the right play. There is nothing on those checks, and Xan is hoping that that's the case. But this is a very bold play, especially because he only needs 3 more badges. However, it's not a true ERC skip unless you commit to it all the way through. If Xan decides when he's looking for his final badge to go back and do those checks, then he's just wasted his time because he needs to, have to go back. No, he got up to, I think, talking to the Murkrow and getting the password, but he then escape roped out. So it will still be a little bit of extra movement for him to go back. I'm just saying, you haven't really saved time if you go back and do those checks later. Horse finds the mineral badge. I didn't see what Janine gave him. In any case, we know that Xan will save a lot more time if he never goes back. We all got excited by ERC skip and stopped paying attention to Horse. So yes, even though it looks like the runners are neck and neck with 3 badges required each, we know that Horse is a long way from getting that Marsh badge. And Xan is definitely going to check where that mineral badge is, sooner or later. Okay, now Horse has set his 5 point, so he's going to be going to Chuck's gym. And checking for the secret potion, it's been replaced with a max potion. As Xan wraps up the Blaine fight, we see Blaine has an actual fire-type Pokemon. Okay, Blaine just gives it Never Melt Ice. In fact, Xan is going to be making his way to Jasmine right now. This is considered the alternative, perhaps even optimal way to get to Fuchsia. Instead of going down Cycling Road, you take this route, you talk to Blue, you fight Blaine, you get the extra check, and then you get to Fuchsia. Also, yes, I must explain, Jasmine and Janine are the same person. They have the same name, their names are interchangeable, you know what I mean. It is faster. Sometimes you need to fight Janine much earlier to make progression. But if you can get access to Fuchsia this way, it is a good way to string these together. So let's pay attention to what Xan actually gets from fighting Janine. We'll also point out we haven't seen either runner do Nugget Bridge. We haven't seen either runner fight Misty. We haven't seen either runner fight Erica. We haven't seen either runner fight Surge. We haven't seen either runner fight Sabrina. We haven't seen either runner fight Brock. As we hit the 2-hour mark, and Janine gives an escape rope and, I don't know, something else. Nothing important, no badges anyway. Okay, and Horse going to be fighting Chuck now. Xan about to get the Mineral Badge. And yeah, there is the Mineral Badge for Xan. So just 2 more badges required now. And it looks like he's going to Claire. I did not see if there was anything on Chuck. Chuck's wife? Nothing. Nothing in Cyanwood. Okay. And in fact, look, Horse is also going to Claire. So both runners now syncing up entirely. And this is what I mean when I talk about, like, Xan did not actually have a very big lead, except that he got Waterfall. Because Horse never found Waterfall, Horse has not had to do whole areas that Xan has had to do, meaning that they are pretty much neck and neck here, except Xan has that all-important Marsh Badge that Horse is a very long way from being able to get. But if that Marsh Badge hadn't been there, then we would actually be looking at a practically neck-and-neck race at this point. No, but Horse would never have done those checks because he would never have found Waterfall to be able to do those checks. So he would have exhausted all the other checks and found all the badges in the process, and he would have just skipped doing Tin Tower and Waterfall entirely. But because Marsh Badge is not required, he'll exhaust everything and still need the Marsh Badge, at which point he'll have to backtrack and find that Waterfall HM that he missed. If there was no Marsh Badge in that Ho-Oh chamber, then the 2 runners would be practically neck and neck right now. Look at this. Of course, we know that Xan has accomplished quite a bit more in the same amount of time than Horse, but it doesn't count for anything unless you get the actual items. But this is what I've been saying. There is not actually that much between these two. There is not that much between these two characters, these two runners. Except that Xan has the Marsh Badge. And Horse is a long way from getting it. But yeah, we even see Horse actually ahead, making faster progress with his Victory Bell through this gym than the Taurus. The Victory Bell is a couple of levels higher. Also point out Xan has also done Blaine, which Horse has not done yet. Looks like both runners setting up X items on this fight. I know Horse did. I think Xan did as well. Yes, Steelix is a good example of why you'll often run something like Surf on a Taurus anyway, just for coverage. To deal with anything that is really physically offensive. This has just been a really excellent showcase, ROM, of just how these races can be fascinating. Now, of course, Claire does not give an item when you defeat her. Instead, after you defeat her, you have to go to Dragon's Den and basically complain to her manager that you weren't given a badge after you were entitled to one. At which point he asks you a couple of security questions to make sure you're not a robot and then gives you your badge. Of course, we don't know if there's any badges in here, but there could be 2. Okay, guard spec. This is so close and at the same time so not close. It's fascinating. Now, Horse... Okay, they don't miss this check. It's just a revive. I'm also only just now realizing that the male trainer gets a red Taurus and the female trainer gets a blue Taurus sprite. I actually never noticed that. Okay, there's the Boulder Badge for both runners. So, not a waste of time doing Claire's gym. Not that that would matter because they've both done it. You see the second item is an Ultra Ball. It is so much easier to track when the runners are doing the same things at the same time. Yes, just one badge left for Xan. It could be a Vanilla Thunder Badge. We have not fought Surge yet. This is a Super Potion. Now, after leaving here, you always get a phone call from Elm. And... okay, Horse is now going to be doing Burn Tower, and Xan is going to be doing Cyanwood. So these are both areas that we know are barren. I'm going to switch our audio over to Horse so that everyone can listen to the cries. Particularly because we know that Xan is not going to find anything. The rival is invisible, because of the order in which we've triggered certain rival cutscenes. Yeah, we're going to listen to the roamers on Horse's side. His audio quality does not sound as strong, but I will try not to talk over it this time. Remoraid, Charizard, Heracross. Yes, we did already see the Heracross Suicune fight when Xan went into Tin Tower. Of course, we know there's no items there. Now, will Horse fight Morty? Morty could be guarding the Thunder Badge. He's gonna do it. Yes, I think that the audio quality from Horse's stream is not quite as good as the one from Xan's stream. But of course, we use the audio of whoever is in the lead, and that is most certainly Xan at this point. I actually don't know how anyone identifies the cries. The only time I ever identified a cry other than Jinx was Miltank. One time there was a roamer in a bingo race, and it had it was a Miltank, and it had a cry, and Miltank was on the bingo card, and I was like, oh, I actually know what one of the roamers is. We see PP up and Max Elixir, yes. So nothing on Chuck. That is what we thought. Okay. Where is Xan going to go next? It looks like he's going to fight Sabrina. So one interesting thing about the logic of this randomizer is the game will never force you to fight Sabrina until you have at least 7 badges. Now again, you can fight her earlier if you get here. As soon as you have the pass, you can fight Sabrina. But if you have less than 6 badges, then she is never going to be required for progression. But she could still have a progression item or a badge, just one that the logic intends you to find later on. And as someone who has tried to beat Sabrina with very underleveled mains in the past, I appreciate that. At Sneasel, very, very dead to cross-chop from the Tauros. Okay, it's a berry. You love to see it. Also, it looks like Xan may have gotten a little lost trying to leave Sabrina's gym. Okay, he managed it. And he's going to be fighting Erica next. I also didn't see what Morty gave out. I'm assuming it was nothing. Okay, Morty is a scam, confirmed. Snowbear can go to sleep now. Horse is going to make his way up to Nugget Bridge. Now again, just imagine if both runners were looking for their final badge at this point. Fighting different gym leaders, going different places looking for that final badge. You would have no way of knowing who's going to win. And this is absolutely what the races can come down to. Just who checks the right spot for that final badge first. Now, of course, the area Horse is checking, it has more fights, but there are 3 items here. There is a cut-locked item. There is an item on a trainer an additional trainer who you fight at the end, and he gives you an item. And then you send Misty to her gym so that you can go and fight her for her item. Erica, on the other hand, is fewer fights and gives 2 items because she normally gives a TM when you beat her in the vanilla game. So the 2 areas are considered roughly equal value in terms of checks per minute. Or checks per fight. In terms of areas Xan has left to check, he has Surge's Gym, he has Nugget Bridge, he has Brock's Gym and Route 4 and Blue, and Elite 4. I also don't think he hasn't fought the Soft Sand Girls yet. So that's another possibility. And of course, he hasn't found the Secret Potion yet. The last badge could be behind Secret Potion. Which item did Horse miss? Horse missed HM7. And the Clear Bell is a waterfall locked item. And the Marsh badge is in the Ho-Oh chamber. So unfortunately, his progression is tied behind Waterfall, and he doesn't have it. Even though he's very, very unlikely to finish this ahead of Xan, unless some sort of disaster occurs for Xan, in terms of perhaps Red's main being a complete wall for his Taurus. We are still going to be watching and hoping that Horse is able to recover and find that Waterfall HM and finish his run. Yes, a Machamp with Cross Chop. Okay, so Erica gives TM29 and Soft Sand. He did. He went backwards through Ilex Forest. But it is the kind of mistake that someone only ever makes once. And it looks like Xan is now going to be... Oh no, this is not... Yeah, he's now going to Brock's Gym. I thought he was going up to Nugget Bridge, but he's not in the right village. The real problem for Horse is that since he doesn't know he missed a check, and he certainly doesn't know where, he could be in a situation where he will go to Elite 4 looking for Waterfall and then get nothing. Yes, Xan also missed a check on Route 45, but it was only a rare candy. It is very unlucky to both miss a check and have that check be a required check. The majority of checks in the run are not required items, but it can happen. We see Horse now going to be fighting Misty. We'll see if this is where the Thunder Badge is hiding. The Mystery Egg and the Lost Item are also both locked behind Waterfall, but we know that neither of them are required. Victory Bell getting a nice bit of XP from a very high-level Blissey. And a Chansey. Okay, so Misty's team has got just lots of XP on it. That is some reward for effort, at least. Brock just gives TM24. And Misty gives a full heal. So neither of them are required. And it looks like Xan is going to go to Route 4. So this is one ground item that is locked behind a high-level rival fight and one other trainer fight. And a bit of movement, because this area is quite out of the way. Horse is going to fight Sabrina now. We know that Sabrina is not going to give him a badge. So what does Xan have left to do? No one has done Surge. Surge is probably where Xan will go next. Because at this point, after Route 4, it's just Elite Four, Surge, and Blue. I don't think Xan has anywhere else he can go. He doesn't have Secret Potions, so he can't check Jasmine. He also hasn't done Morty and Soft Sand. That's true. We know that Morty is nothing. But of course, the tricky part about these runs is that final badge can be anywhere. There's no way of knowing, there's no way of deducing through logic where it can and can't be. Soft Sand into Secret Potion into Thunder Badge, yeah, would be a little bit rough. That is also true. I am commentating this race, so it has to be on Elite Four. It's a rule, or an old charter, or something. To be honest, there's nothing wrong with Surge. It's 2 fights, and if you've got a high-level main, you can get through Surge pretty quickly. And it looks like that's where Horse is going next. Oh, it's on Route 4. There's the Thunder Badge. And that means that Xan is now in go mode. So Secret Potion not required. And, okay, Xan is now going to be able to set potentially a very, very good time. No Elite Four required. And of course we'll see Horse is not going to find anything on Lieutenant Surge. Xan is going to do his final setup for the red fight. He's going to be purchasing some full heals and some hyper potions. And some revives. Yeah, if the fight goes cleanly, he could definitely finish in under 2:30. Which would be an excellent time. And let's be very clear, like, even though Horse missed that check, and it's going to set back his finishing time a long way, assuming he does play it out and doesn't forfeit when Xan9br's finished, which he might, because he still requires 2 badges, and we know how far off one of them is. Xan has played, I think, cleaner than Horse all the way through this race. Xan has had a lead, even not allowing for the advantage of the waterfall check throughout most of the race. He's checking items in Ice Park, in Victory Road. I'm not sure what, in Mount Silver. I'm not sure why. Yes, like Xan has done a bunch of extra areas, and you know he's gotten all 16 badges. He's in go mode before Horse has even found the Thunder Badge. So the mistake of not picking up Waterfall meant Horse was probably not going to win this anyway, but I would say that it didn't actually cost Horse the race, because Xan has looked like winning it regardless. If we were in a situation where Horse was already just frantically backtracking looking for this item that he missed, then we could say that the mistake cost him. But it's not that simple. But full credit to Xan, he's played extremely well, and Horse has played extremely well as well. He's just unwittingly made one small mistake, and it's left him in a bad situation later. Red's ace is a Nidoqueen, and it has Fire Blast. That's dealing a decent amount of damage. The issue is also going to be that it could burn the Tauros. He has the healing items for this, but it makes the setup a little bit harder. Yes, Horse's routing was not as efficient. He backtracked. He did reverse lower Johto when it wasn't entirely required. And he did not happen to find this Tauros that Xan found, which has also been very good for him. Oh, the Tauros gets crit. Nidoqueen has Scary Face. I'm not quite sure what that... Remind me what Scary Face does, guys. I thought that just stops you from being able to switch out. Yes, missing out on the pass early definitely helped Xan. Oh, sharply decreases speed. Yes, that is a problem. Now, of course, we know that Xan has a huge time advantage to play around with here. If he needs to leave and go and buy a guard spec and come back, he can. Question is, when is he, will he decide to do that, or will he try and get along without it? Nidoqueen also has Giga Drain. It looks like he wants to knock out the Nidoqueen and try and set up on the next Pokemon. Shoutouts to that berry that's still in his bag. Now, I have lost races when I have started the red fight 30 minutes ahead of my opponent. When you get walled on red, it can cost you a lot of time. But Horse has an enormous amount of ground to make up, and Horse is probably going to fall for doing Elite Four before finding that waterfall check. Okay, now we're trying to set up on a minimized jump cloth. Looks like Horse is going to be fighting Brock, so he might be getting close to that Route 4 check. Yes, for anyone who doesn't know, if you have an X accuracy and you use it, then the game will just stop checking accuracy, meaning that every move will be 100% guaranteed to hit, regardless of if a Pokemon is minimized, or if the move normally has a very low accuracy rating. This is how speedrunners beat Generation 1. They teach their Nidoking a couple of 100% KO moves, one-hit KO moves, and then they just use an X accuracy at the start of each fight, and then spam the moves that will just one-shot everything. Because Gen 1 is extremely well-coded. I do not know if that's true. Also, welcome in, Woongi. Woongi, you are the third member of this group, is that correct? Okay, Tauros is making its way through the team now. It's knocked out the first 3 Pokemon. Yes, so if Xan wins this race, which now seems an almost certainty, it is going to be a 3-way tie in your group, Woongi, meaning that you will also be taking part in a tiebreaker. Horse has finished the Brock fight. Will he go to Route 4? No, he's flown away. And that is going to be GG for Xan. In 2 minutes 26. And it looks like Horse is going to forfeit yeah, Horse has forfeited from the race. But we'll see if he keeps playing. But yes, he has officially forfeited in the race time room. But we do see his timer still going. He is still, or is that him stopping now because there's a delay? He's still going to make his way down here. Talk to Blue. Let's see if we can get them in for an interview. Hello! Congratulations!
Hello. Oh my god,
GG,
man.
well done.
Man, I was so nervous. Oh my god.
You were nervous in the final fight?
Man, last half hour entirely, to be honest.
So,
Oh my god.
I can tell you now, you didn't need to be nervous because Horse missed the check that was Waterfall.
Oh my god, really?
It was the ground item in Ilex Forest, just above the headbutt guy.
Oh.
Horse went through Ilex in the reverse direction from Goldenrod to Azalea, and he just passed that item without checking it. Waterfall led you to Clearbell, that was in the north part of Mount Mortar, and Marsh Badge was in the Hollow Chamber. So Horse basically didn't have a chance because he missed that check. This was your race really for most of it. But of course, we had to watch for quite a while to see whether anything crucial was behind Waterfall or not. And it was only when you got that check in the Hollow Chamber right at the end that we knew that you were going to win.
Oh man. This is so sad, actually.
However, you were well ahead of Horse anyway. Like, even if that hadn't happened, we think you would have won. Because your routing was much better. You found the pass much earlier than Horse did. And yeah, you basically were like, Horse still hasn't found the Thunder Badge as of right now.
Yeah, no, when you said he missed the waterfall, yeah, it was decided. I actually casted in the Brazilian race stream once a race that a player missed an item that was required. It's really feels bad.
Yes, it's happened. It's happened in a couple of races today. Horse, welcome in.
Hey guys.
We are just talking about what happened to you during this race. You would not be aware that you missed a check in Ilex Forest.
Think of which one. Oh, it was the one above Headbutt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Waterfall.
Yeah, that would do it.
And the Clearbell is Waterfall locked in Mount Mortar, and the Marsh Badge is in the Hollow Chamber.
It's a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, you hadn't found the Thunder Badge yet either. That was on Route 4. So Xan had...
That's the one past Rival 6 or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Xan had a lead over you through most of this race anyway, so it isn't really just the missed check that cost you. Mm-hmm. It was funny, actually, when you guys were doing Claire's gym, you were completely synchronized.
That's funny.
Except that Xan already had the Marsh Badge, and we knew that you were a long way from finding it. So Xan had a huge lead, but you were actually neck and neck right through Claire's gym and Dragon's Den. You just synced up perfectly through that whole stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have much time because I need to do the interview in other stream as well. But I would just wanted to say that this was my PB using these settings.
That's fantastic! Congratulations! Yeah, you played really well. I don't think I saw you hit any optionals.
Yeah, I hit.
You played really clean.
In bolt, I guess. Early in the city, I hit the guy after I had a record.
That's right. Yes. So
I think
that trainer. that trainer is only on the boat when the boat is going from Vermilion to Olivine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something to remember if you're going that way to make sure you avoid him. But yeah, like you played really, really clean. You also skipped a few checks in Mahogany Underground, which ended up being good because that whole Mahogany Underground stretch was completely barren.
Man, I decided to last location those checks because I thought that if the last badge was there, I would have lost anyway. But turns out,
Yes.
if it was indeed there, this race would take too long.
That's also true. Xan got
Alex Forest,
So guys, I really appreciate it for the cast and everyone that watched, but I really need to get going. GG's again.
Go right ahead and do the interview with them. But congrats, well played.
Yeah, GG.
And let's see again on the true way, right?
Oh, is that what the tiebreaker is?
Yeah.
Yes. There is going to be. You guys are in a tiebreaker in your group. I woke up this morning to learn that I'm now in a tiebreaker in my group. And I think there's another group are having a 3-way tiebreaker as well. So this is a very, very even tournament. And this race today just really showed how anyone can win. And one tiny mistake can cost even a very experienced runner the race. So, yeah. So well played to you, Xan.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah.
Here you go. See ya.
And yeah, Horse, you were playing really, really well. But yeah, you found Fly a bit later than Xan did. You found the pass too late for it to be of any use to you. I think you took the boat twice.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. But this was a fascinating race to watch because you took such different routes right from the moment you both got Squirt Bottle. You went in completely different directions. One of you was in Sprout Tower, the other one was doing the bug catching area. Just right off the bat, you were off in different directions. I was struggling to keep track of all the checks because you were both finding badges and key items left, right, and center in different places.
Yeah, I imagine that'd be pretty tough.
And I saw you go past that item in Ilex, and I was like, did he grab that? I don't think he grabbed that. But then it was a little while before Xan picked it up, and we're like, oh no, it's Waterfall. But then we're like, well, Waterfall isn't necessarily required. And then he goes up into the Mount Mortar area eventually, and he finds the Clear Bell, and we're like, okay, it might be something on there. And we thought there might be 3 badges in Tin Tower, but there was nothing in all of Tin Tower. And he goes to the Ho-Oh Chamber, and we're like Horse might have gotten away with this. And like 2 hours after you missed it, he picks up the Marsh Badge in that room, and we're like, oh, GG.
Yeah, regardless, I thought my early game was pretty messy. I almost forgot the Rock Smash item, too. Not really used to going the route I did. Downwards from Goldenrod from Squirt Bottle Tree. But
yeah,
I didn't really have a main, so I was kind of hoping Kenya or... I should have checked Bill's Poke, too, probably.
Yeah, you nearly switched to the Kenya for a bit because it was a Lugia.
I was actually I was fine with running it, but once I got the Victory Bell was a high level, and I guess moveset was like not very good, but it was good enough.
Yeah, the Victory Bell is, I think, a really great Pokemon to main, and yeah, it was like 20 levels higher. So
yeah, it's a little sketchy because its defenses are so bad for red, but
yeah, Xan didn't have Surf when he got to Kanto because he found the pass earlier.
Yeah.
And so he went to Cycling Road, found a Taurus.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, so he just mained the Taurus the rest of the way. Also, the Ho-Oh was a Taurus.
Oh yeah.
Funnily enough.
I guess he would have found that way too late to switch to it anyway, but
yeah. I have no idea what the Lugia was. The Silverwing was in Rocket Underground, but you both already done well. That was another thing. You did a lot of areas in the dark.
Yeah.
And Xan waited till he got Flash. So that meant that he was able to go much cleaner through those areas.
Yeah, I got stuck a little bit in a whirl for a bit, but otherwise I don't think I lost a whole lot of time going through the dark areas.
Yes, I kept reiterating in the chat, like in the commentary, like, I don't agree with doing Whirl Islands in the dark because you lose time to movement, but it's so impressive that he can.
Yeah, and I knew Flash was in Logic, or I was pretty sure Flash was in Logic based on the items I'd found in the dark. So it was like, I'm already here, I'm just going to do this anyway once I found
Whirlpool. The SS ticket and the machine part were both Flash locked. And the Flash chamber in the Ruins of Elf had like 3 key items in it.
It had Pokegear and Strength for sure.
Yeah, Pokegear and Strength, and Rainbow Badge as well.
Yeah.
So, it was like you absolutely needed Flash even if you tried to do everything else without it. So it was just little things like that Xan really sort of had that edge over you. But yeah, if he hadn't found Marsh Badge, if that hadn't been waterfall locked, then you guys actually would have been neck and neck.
I think you still would have won. I don't do the Route 4 check. That's one of the last checks I'll do normally. So
yeah, it's only 2 fights. The Route 4 check. I always do it after Brock.
Yeah.
I just treat that as like 2
I think I had Blaine, Blue, Kimono, and Self-Sand Girls left, so I probably would have done it after Blue. So I guess it would have been pretty close, actually.
Yeah,
depending on what order I did stuff after Waterfall stuff.
Yeah, Xan did Kimono Girls, and it was nothing. You did Morty, and it was nothing. I don't think Xan fought Morty.
No.
And Xan fought Blaine on his way to Janine, but there was nothing on Blaine.
Did he do the Nugget Bridge or the Hedge Mage trainers?
I don't think he did. No, I think you were the only one who did that.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a time loss, and. Yeah, and I guess he kind of did a little bit of Rocket Hideout, but skipped out early.
Yeah, like the one item that we never saw, like on Xan's tracker, he's got everything except the secret potion, so we don't know where that was.
Yeah,
but Lost Item and Mystery Egg. Yeah, Lost Item and Mystery Egg were also waterfall locked, but they didn't lead to anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, Red's 81 was a Nidoqueen. So I think he got through the red fight in 1 try, but he did have to use a few revives, and he struggled to set up a bit. He didn't have a guard spec, and the Nidoqueen had Scary Face.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, at that point, he was so far ahead of you, of course.
It wasn't going to matter at that point.
Going to win, but yeah, like, I mean, you got beaten by a very good time. 2:28 is a very hard time to beat.
I haven't managed to practice or watch a whole lot of the games so far. What have the games been averaging out around, do you think?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm in Australia, so I'm definitely sleeping through a bunch of the races. But I've seen a whole variance. I mean, my last race was 2:41, and I lost by 9 seconds.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I might have to watch that one back then.
Yeah, I'm told it's a good one. I'm told it's a good one to watch. Like obviously 2.5 to 3 hours is sort of the.
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed. And my first match was like a super jet seed, so it was not indicative of the tournament.
My first race was a hundo seed, so you know.
You love to see it.
This was actually a really good seed. It's just unfortunate you missed out on that waterfall. And you must have been thinking, like, if I'm lucky, waterfall is just not required. And you can just skip all of those checks. And you were so close to being able to skip a whole bunch of checks that Xan had already done. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, Marsh was required, so that didn't happen. But I think you made the right call forfeiting and not playing this one out, because that would have taken you a long time.
Yeah, I assumed, like, without prior knowledge, I would be getting Clear Bell or Waterfall at some point, and then had to do those checks to find the last 2 badges.
Yeah, that's always how it goes.
I didn't really want to play it out.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. You were a long way from finishing, unfortunately, but still really, really well played. That was a really entertaining race. I think it was a really good showcase of just how interesting these randomizer races can be. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything else to say? Any other thoughts on your run?
Not really. Oh, my controller died. Oh, where did it die? It was in Faulkner's gym. So I was playing on my keyboard because I have that bound as well in case my controller runs out of batteries. And I was trying to take the batteries out of my TV remote while playing with my other hand, which was pretty funny. But it's pretty easy to make a switch like that in Pokemon. So.
Yeah, I always play on keyboard myself. I don't really have. I do have a Steam controller somewhere in a drawer, but
nothing else other than that. That was a good race.
It was a good race. I think everyone watching enjoyed it. And good luck on your 3-way tiebreaker.
You too.
It's gonna be really exciting. I think for everyone watching to see some 3-way races.
So how does that work? Just the top 2 finishes advance?
I believe so. Yes, the top 2 finishes. So just don't come last. That's all. Just don't come last.
Okay, I think we'll both endeavor to do that.
But yeah, it's an exciting tournament. It's clearly very even and unpredictable, which is what you want to see. So, but yeah, I think that we're all done. I think we can wrap it up. I'm not aware of any other races going on right now, so I don't think we have to raid anybody. But I think we can leave that to SpeedGaming itself. I don't know how it works. I don't know how SpeedGaming works. How does SpeedGaming work?
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah, I think we'll say we're done. So good race, condolences, but good luck with your next one. Thank you to SpeedGaming once again for hosting this race. Thank you to everyone for watching. Be sure to keep an eye on the schedule. There are lots more races. There are several races of this tournament happening every day. And they are all completely unpredictable like this one. We hope to see you all again. Thank you and good night.
Bye-bye.